Okay. Well, thank you everyone who's here right now. I'm Ashlee. This is Jeff.
Nice to meet you guys.
We are super excited to be here. This is actually our debut for this workshop, How to Gram Like a Pro, Gram short for Instagram. So again, I just want to ask if anybody wants to come on camera. We would love to make this an interactive workshop. We would also love to gauge the audience as to, how familiar you are with using the app, just so that we don't go, too far in depth if we don't need to, or vice versa. So yeah.
So yeah, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Jeff Campbell. I'm digital marketing manager at Valdez team at Ringler. I've been here about a year. Before that, I spent about 7 years in the agency world, doing content creation, graphic design, creative stuff like that. So have been kind of working in the social media space for a while.
And I'm on the business development side at Valdez team. So anything that is creating value for our business or putting our brand in a good light, that is my job. So I help Jeff out on the digital marketing side. And then I also do our kind of in-person and events marketing as well. I've been with the company just around 6 months, and we both really, really love it. And we love being on the marketing side.
Yeah, and we both are like huge Instagram users. Like aside from our personal accounts, I have like a chef account on there, and even all my dogs have their own accounts. And Ashlee, same. You can tell them about yours too.
I have a wine account for all my wine drinking, and then I have my Valdez team account, and I also have my personal account.
Yes, so
We're
we're heavy
millennials,
Instagram
so
users.
yeah.
um, oh yeah, Ashlee, did you want to tell them a little bit about
I
Valdez team?
do. Yeah, of course. We have to shamelessly plug our fabulous company that we work with, Valdez Team. It's a father-son team, Manny and Manuel. And Jeff and I actually came up with a slogan called the Team You Can Trust, because we do really trust and love these guys. They are fantastic to work with. And we focus on structured settlements and anything that falls under the settlement planning umbrella. So things like lien resolution, Medicare set-asides, special needs trusts when working with minors or incompetent adults, all those good things. And our main focus, of course, is having fantastic customer service. When it comes down to it, that's what really drives us. All right. So I thought it was really important to start with why social media matters, and it's kind of why we're here today. Instagram, between 2010 and 2020 grew from 1 million users to 1 billion users. So for a company to have that kind of growth in 10 years, it's pretty phenomenal, and it's definitely worth paying attention to. There are about 3 billion people across the globe using social networks at any given time. And honestly, that number has probably gone up since I made this slide, because everybody is on social media, so we think that you should be too. And then, of course, during these times of minimal personal interaction, it's really great to use social media platforms to stay in touch and stay connected, not only with people that you know and love, but also making new friends and promoting your brand to new audiences.
Yeah, and it's also a great opportunity for you to really humanize your brand. Marketing and advertising right now is really all about storytelling, and this is a great way for you to connect with your audience and with your target and really tell the story of like who you are as a brand, who your company is, and show them like real world proof about how you care about your employees and your causes and things like that. So it's a great way to really get your story out there. And then lastly, too, it's a wonderful source of inspiration. There's so much information and so many great visuals and videos to see every day, personally and professionally. So it's really a source where, if you're feeling like, you need a little pick me up, going on Instagram and seeing, how creative and wonderful and wide the world is can be really inspiring.
So we wanted to provide kind of a glossary of terms. Some of these are super duper basic and some of them get a little bit more in depth with marketing, but we wanted to, of course, start from the beginning. Your username is also called your handle. It's what comes right behind the little @ sign. You can change it as many times as you like. So if you, you know, I don't know, are feeling a little bit different between one year to the next, don't worry, you're not stuck with that username forever. I've already changed mine like 3 times in the life of my Instagram. A post is when you put a static piece of maybe a photo or a video onto your feed. Now, this will live on your feed or on your page forever unless you decide to delete it. Your bio, it gives you it gives everybody who comes to your profile a little bit of information about you. We're going to talk about how to create a fantastic bio here in a little bit. So we'll take you through that, but it's the first thing that people see and it's kind of like their first impression of you. Stories are going to be just quick glimpses that last only 24 hours. You can share them to all your followers or you can share them to just a select few people. We're going to get into more detail about that later as well. And then we've got some highlighted stories. So those actually live on your profile page. There's some little circles right under here. You can also see the little circles that Jeff has put on the Valdez team profile. Those are your highlighted stories. If it's something fantastic that you want longer than 24 hours, you'll highlight it on that row and then it can live on your page as well. Your feed is kind of like your profile page. And then reels are really, really fun. It's a brand new feature where you're kind of creating these little, what would you call them? They're not interactive videos, but they're a little more dynamic.
Yeah, it's like, it's definitely taking a cue from TikTok with like creative editing and creative filters and using voiceover techniques and stuff like that. So it's just a way to be really creative and fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and then moving on to the next part of our glossary. Sorry, I'm trying to move the little hover thing. So let's see. This is how you would pretty much interact with the post in your feed. So up at the top, you can see you have those circles. Those are all the handles. Those are all the new stories that you can watch. If you click into one of them, it'll actually bring you into the next one. And you can really get lost in there if you're not, you know, keeping track of time. Up at the top is a new post button too. You can also access your messages up there. If you look at the main feed, and that's basically just like you would call your feed on Facebook, you have, you know, the in-feed post there. You have a like, a comment, and a share button down at the bottom. And then over on the right is a save button. In case you see something really interesting that you want to save for later, you can just click on that, which is really useful. And then I would say probably the most important part here really is that like, comment, and save option. That's where you can really show people, you know, that you show the love by liking their post or engage with them by giving them a comment or share it with a friend. So I think those are just double tapping on the photo. We'll give it a like too. Those are kind of the most important things here.
And most of these items we're going to go into much more in depth, but of course we wanted to give you a little preview of what's to come. So this page does go in a little bit more in depth in some marketing terms. Hashtag, that's how we're categorizing content, making it more discoverable. You can also follow hashtags, which I love doing. For example, when I was planning my trip to Paris, I followed hashtag travel Paris and travel France. And all of a sudden, all these really awesome places started popping up on my feed. So that's something fun that you can do if you have certain topics that you're interested in and you want to discover new content. Now, your target audience. This is a term that I probably learned like day one of advertising of like freshman year of college. It's your potential customers that you want to sell to. So that kind of makes sense, your target audience. And that's who Jeff and I are hoping to reach with every single post that we make, and everything that we do as far as marketing. We're marketing to our target audience. The photo that's here, the Phoenicia Honey photo, is an example of what's called, oh, I skipped. So the user-generated content is used to create brand awareness. So for example, this was a gift that I sent out to some attorneys. This law firm went ahead and posted the honey, and they tagged Valdez team. That became user-generated content because it was the user that created the content on behalf of Valdez team. And what that did was it increased our brand awareness. So brand awareness is how familiar people are with our brand. And then UGC is content created by other users. I think we all kind of know what blocking is. Muting is like a softer form of blocking where you can still follow people, but you don't have to see them. I love that. Influencers, these are people like, you know, the Kardashians, people like that who have over 100,000 followers, and a lot of people pay attention to what they do and say. But a newer term that's come up recently is the micro influencer. They have between 1,000 and 100,000 followers. I've also seen it represented as 10,000 followers plus, and they kind of have more of a niche audience, and they're often more trusted than these higher profile influencers because you feel like you really connect with them. So it's a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, feel free to just drop them in the chat to let us know.
Okay, so let's do a little deep dive on the basics of Instagram. We're gonna go a little bit more into like the strategy behind it and like why we do what we do. So let's see, so making a good first impression with your bio. So Ashlee mentioned this earlier. A good bio is really the first way that people get to see a little bit about you and get to know who you are. It's like a really good way to get your brand out there. So it's really important that you have a bio that's easy to read, engaging, and gets kind of right to the point, and is also doing you a favor by getting them everything they need to get a hold of you. So you want to include relevant keywords like your job title and specialty. We have a really good example right here from at Car Crash Ash, who's Ashlee Rollins, one of our like Instagram BFFs. We're always chatting back and forth. But she has gone through here and put her owner CEO of her company. She put a link in here to her company's website. She has a link to her professional Instagram handle, along with her little hashtag, which is Car Crash Ash. Threw in a few of these emoji too to kind of, you know, get your eye moving through the block of text, and then gave us like a couple cute little things that we know that give us a little better idea of who she is. So she likes fashion, food, and golf. So this is a perfect example of what you should be doing. So make sure that you have your contact info in there again, and maybe a CTA saying, you know, email me here, reach out if you need something. Always tag your business, put your professional website in there. It's always good to drive traffic to your website from Instagram. And be a little bit creative, show people your personality. We know this is, you know, for a professional purpose, but at the same time, you can still kind of show people who you are. So yeah, does anyone have, I think at the end of this, we can go through and kind of write bios together and everything, but if you have questions, please let us know.
Oh yeah. We are going to show you how to update your bio, but first we're going to update profile photos because that is very important. So we made a little video. What you're looking at right here is essentially when you are on your Instagram page. Let's see, I wanted to pull mine up to show you guys. If you click on your photo, which is on the bottom right, the little circle, that's going to bring you to your kind of profile page. Right under your bio, it says edit profile, and that's how I got to the screen that you're looking at. Now, obviously, you can just hit change profile photo, And if you want to hit play on that video, Jeff, you'll see some options that pop up. So you can either import from Facebook, take a photo, or choose from library. So I always choose the choose from library option because I have a ton of photos that live in my phone. But you can also, of course, grab one from Facebook, whatever you want to do. You can even take your own photo. So I showed you here, after you do that, then you just kind of crop it, do whatever you need to do there, and then voila, you have a brand new profile photo. Now you want to make sure, of course, this is representative of who you are. Mine right here, I'm sitting in front of the J-Lore sign because I love wine, so I thought that was appropriate. Any questions about that? Does everybody have, hopefully everybody has profile photos, and if not, we can definitely help you get a new one set up if you need that help.
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit about the strategy of how to write your bio, but we put together this little screen grab video here too to show you how to actually do it. So let's just watch that really quick.
So I wanted to show that you can change your username right here, like I said, as many times as you want. There's a space to put your website, which is super helpful. And then your bio. So,
and again, yeah, be sure to include your, your professional title, what company you work for, tag them if they have their channel too. It's really nice to just give people that kind of insight into who you are right off the bat. And then you'll see here too, Ashlee goes through and gives us like 3 fun little facts about herself and uses emojis here. So we definitely recommend, remember, like the rule of 3 is an easy thing to remember.
Yeah. Does anybody want to share what they have on their profile? Or if they have 3 fun things that they would want to put in their profile? Don't be scared. Oh man, do we need to offer some free Yeti cups for interaction? Because we got them. We have incentives. Oh, yay! Yeti cups for the win.
You got someone.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can, yes.
What's on your bio, Omid?
Hi. It just takes, can I do a screen share, or what's the easiest way for me to do it?
I guess you can just tell us, or if you want to hold up your phone camera, we can probably see that too.
Yeah, I could do that. Just give me 1 second to pull it up.
Absolutely. What firm are you with?
My firm is the Law Office of Omid Nosrati, and we're a plaintiff's employment law firm in Century City.
And you.
What's that?
We're happy to have you.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here. So let me just pull it up real quick and sorry, just having a little.
It's okay. I know when you're on the spot, it's always everything takes longer.
That's always when like my password doesn't work, when you're like, scrambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you
read us what you have?
So I don't know if you can see it, but it highlights like what I do. It says, fighting for workers' rights, just to make it clear that we represent, workers' rights. Fighting for workers' rights, one case at a time. And then I highlighted some of my accolades. So I put, recipient of Super Lawyers recognition for 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. And then I've got my website there, and my address and contact information. So
that is awesome.
I'd say you're pretty buttoned up right there. Yeah. That's a great bio.
Okay, great. Thanks.
What is your handle so we can all follow you?
Yes.
Thank you. It's it's Nosrati Law.
Perfect.
Yeah.
New followers coming through.
Just found you. Just followed you. Okay, followers
Awesome.
in real
Thank
time
you.
on this webinar.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
No
problem.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is a really good trick that I found. Because sometimes when you get on Instagram and then you're like, okay, I made a bio, I made my profile, but then you're like, but then what? How am I gonna engage with people? How am I gonna find people? So the best way to do that, I found, is to really make sure that you sync your contacts to Instagram. And you can do this by syncing the contacts in your phone or by syncing the contacts in Facebook. So it'll bring all your Facebook friends who have handles on Instagram over into a list for you. And we can walk you through how to do that in a minute if you guys have questions. The other strategy I use is I find like 4 to 5 people who are really good examples of who I want to follow, or people who I want to follow me. And I go over to, I have a little example here, a visual. So we have Planet Fun Bob here, who's from Simon Law, really such a good person at social media. He's got 10,000 followers, gets a ton of engagement. So he is someone I definitely would recommend for you guys to follow too. But if you go over here to where I put this little pink circle, there's like a little carrot right there. If you click it, it'll bring down this like suggested people for you to follow that are related to this person. So it's kind of an easy, fun hack to like find people who are more similar to this person. And so you can maybe find people that you didn't know about, or explore new handles. So that's a good trick that I've found. And then also remember that Instagram's supposed to be fun too. So make sure you follow some meme accounts, some lifestyle accounts, pet accounts, stuff like that, DIY projects. You want to be inspired when you're on Instagram too. And also I've noticed too that with a lot of, in the law space, there's a ton of really fun, just like lawyer joke accounts too, and stuff like that can really help you build out what content you're sharing in your timeline and in your stories. So those can really get a lot of engagement. So I'd recommend, finding some fun accounts like that and maybe sharing those posts into your stories.
Oh, that's a great idea. Love that.
And we can show you guys what we mean by that too at the end of this, by sharing posts. Okay.
Notifications. So notifications are, those little bubbles that pop up on your phone, even when it's locked. Sometimes they can drive you crazy because you might be in a meeting and getting a ton of notifications. So we want to make sure that you are using notifications to your benefits and your advantage. So what we're going to show you is how to choose exactly who, what, and how you are notified. And you can even choose specific accounts, maybe like VIP accounts, where anytime they post something, you want to make sure you see it. We'll show you how to do that as well. So this is setting notifications for a specific account. So I'm going to use the example of course, Valdez team, because our account is the most important. So what you'll do, we made a little video to show you. You'll hit the search and you'll search for the account that you want to get notified about. At the top, there's a little bell. You want to click that little bell. There it is. And here you can choose to turn on or off notifications about certain things. So that was pretty quick, but you might have seen there was options for posts, comments,
stories, and live, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that way when your phone, so kind of like I just received a notification right here. So anytime Valdez team posts something, it will pop up on your phone and you know that you'll never miss out. Jeff uses this a lot, right?
Yeah, it's actually really useful in like a professional setting because if you're, say you're like nurturing a new contact for, you know, some incremental business or something like that, and you want to, you know, be top of mind with them, it can be really good to go through and make sure that you click that that little bell on their account, just so that when they do post something, you'll know right away and you can go in and like it or comment on it. That sounds slightly stalkery, but in like a professional setting, I feel like it's a great way just to make sure that you're using, you know, social media and using the channel to your advantage. So, I mean, ultimately, you're on here trying to boost your brand awareness and you're trying to build your audience and build your brand. So, this is a really good way to make sure that the right people are you're interacting with the right people at the right time.
Yeah, we're giving away all our secrets.
We really are. Okay, so this one is, do you want to voice over this one too, the notifications
Sure.
for settings?
I'm sorry, Jeff, I took your slide last time.
Oh, no, not at all.
So there's another way to change your notifications, and that's in the settings. I also just took a quick moment here on this video to show the privacy options because I thought it was important that you can make your account private, and you can also change, you know, who can comment and who can do stuff like that. But also in settings, you can choose if it's people from that you follow or from everyone, if people are liking, commenting, photos of you, you know, you can really, point is you can really tailor in the settings area what kind of notifications that you get. If you don't care when people like your photo because you get 100 likes on every photo, you won't want to see those. But if it's important to you when someone makes a comment that you see that, that's where you'll want to change that notification so that you can make sure that you're responding to comments, but you don't have to respond to likes. So that's kind of how I have mine set up. I like to know when people comment or when they tag me in something. But if it's just a simple photo like, I don't need to waste my time and have my phone vibrating all the time. Does that make sense to everyone on how we're using notifications?
Ashlee, I think that's actually really good advice because sometimes it can get really overwhelming, the amount of notifications you get from Instagram. So I think that's a good way to kind of make sure that the ones you are getting are the ones that really matter to you and you don't get kind of burned out from your phone always vibrating.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, next we have the kind of like levels of engagement. So we mentioned earlier the main ones here are the like, the comment, and the share. I would say, just as Ashlee said, you know, you might not want to see every single like on your posts. That's a lot of notifications. It's also just kind of like the lowest form of engagement on Instagram. When I go through Instagram, I'm like in everything. Like my partner makes fun of me that I'm just like a like factory. But I like, you know, I like to give the love out. So it's a great way to just kind of go through and make sure that, you know, people you're following, that, you know, you show that you appreciate them and stuff like that. So I would say be very, you know, you can give out as many likes as you want, especially when you're like first starting your handle. The comment is, you know, one level up from that. And I was, you know, who doesn't appreciate a good comment on a post? But I would also say the rule here too is somebody comments on your content, make sure that you like that comment and you respond back to them. That's just kind of really good etiquette on this channel. And it'll also, I feel like the more you comment back, the more people are apt to comment on your content to begin with. So, and that's at the same time what you're here for, is that engagement with people that matter to your business. So always be quick to comment back and be, you know, free on commenting on other people's content too. And then finally, I think the most valuable one is the share here. And that's a way that you can really expand the reach of your content. So if you see, you know, a post from someone that you think is really useful or informative or educational, share that with your friends or share it onto your story. And it'll do a big favor for the person who created the content because they'll perhaps get new followers and new reach out of it. but it also will, it's another like layer of engagement for you too. So, and another way to kind of start a private conversation based on a comment or a piece of content. Does anyone have questions about that?
Kelly had a great comment that it also increases your visibility due to the Instagram algorithm.
Yes, very much true. Yeah, we're always trying to game that.
Awesome. Post 101. So we did go ahead and list the steps to posting here on this page, but it sounds to me like we've got some pretty seasoned Instagram users. So I think we should cruise on to some of our tactics on photos and things like that. What do you think, Jeff?
Sure, that works for me.
Okay.
So posting with a purpose. We have here, so clearly Instagram is a very visual platform. You're sharing images and videos with your audience. It's something that you really enjoy with your eyes. When you post, you want to consider just your aesthetic, your brands, and something that Ashlee and I are always thinking about too, and just using this in our professional capacity is you don't want to just post to post all the time. You really want to post and add value. So people want to look at your content. People want to see what you're going to post. So always remember that there wants to be like a value add there when you're creating a piece of content. Something that we use all the time too, and it really helps you kind of organize your kind of content buckets and what kind of content you're doing on your channel is these content pillars. So I kind of came up with 3 that I thought would work for you guys that you could walk away from this and kind of use right away. And so the first one is kind of like the day of the life and of the professional, where you show people like a behind the scenes look at how you do your job every day. If you're doing something interesting or have a cool client meeting or something interesting happened in court, a great way just to kind of show people how you do what you do. And people always really enjoy kind of seeing, the humanity behind it all. Another one is educational content. This one is, I think, really important. You see more and more educational content on this channel, and TikTok the same, how-to videos, travel videos, teaching people about different parts of different industries. So I think this one could be a really huge value add for you guys in particular, kind of teaching people about what you do. And then lastly, inspiration. And this one is probably the easiest out of the 3. Inspirational, like motivational quotes, especially, when they're layered over a pretty image or a pretty background. Give your followers, some good vibes, and they tend to get really high engagement too. And it's not a huge effort for you to either create these images or find them. I'd say if you go on Pinterest, there's kind of you could scroll forever and ever finding these inspirational quotes, and you can kind of grab them from there and post them. Or there's a bunch of really nice free online graphic design software too, like Canva. We use Canva a lot to kind of create these kind of simple graphics. So you definitely can create them yourselves too. But I feel like these 3 things are great ways to kind of give you like a roadmap into trying to figure out where you should be taking your content and how you can get the most engagement and the most kind of bang for your buck out of them too. Does anyone have questions?
We do have a question.
Oh, good.
From Maithili, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm probably not. She says, hi. She says, can you share a post from someone else to post on your own account?
So yeah, it's a little complicated. Sometimes it depends on their security preferences. If you're trying to share a post into your story, sometimes you can do that. It's complicated trying to like regram something that's not really like part of the Instagram platform. So something you can do is do like a screen grab and then kind of informally, use someone else's post in yours. Always make sure that you tag them and say, you know, like hat tip to this person. That's a good etiquette. But that's probably the easiest way to kind of cross share content like that. Ashlee, do you have any other input on that?
No, that's exactly right. So you can share other people's posts only to your story, not to your feed, and only if they're public, not if they're private.
Exactly.
But yes, the screenshot is a great little workaround for that.
For sure.
Does that help you out, Mythilene?
Yes, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'm on my phone there, so that's okay.
Oh, no worries.
Good. How appropriate.
So we were going to walk you guys through some good tips here where you can, you know, unleash your inner photographer. And there's kind of two ways. There's one side that I'm going to talk about that's kind of the technology part. And then Ashlee's going to talk more about like the theoretical and aesthetic part. So technical tricks, I would say if you have one of the newer iPhones, you probably already know about portrait mode, but portrait mode should really be like your new BFF. I love the way that it kind of blows the background out into like a soft focus, and it really puts, you know, the subject of the photo into the foreground. It can really create some like dynamic and really beautiful, dramatic kind of photography. So I would say, especially if you're shooting people or even just shooting an object or something, always try to use portrait mode when you can. And then also you can go in and kind of edit all the different light modes too once you take the photo with portrait mode. So there's a lot of kind of editing techniques there that you can do right in your phone that will really up your photography game. The next one is, I think, kind of a game changer. Ashlee and I just discovered it like 2 weeks ago, but you can actually change your video settings in your phone to 4K, which is phenomenal. It's going to look so amazing. So I'll tell you guys how to do it really quick, actually. If you go into your main settings on your phone, iPhone obviously, and then you scroll down to camera, it's actually pretty far down. But it'll show you this screen, and then you go to record video, and it'll probably be at 1080p for now. But I would go ahead and tick off the very bottom that says 4K at 60 frames per second. That means your video is going to be like Hollywood sharp almost. And when you want to do slow-mo, you'll have that high keyframe rate. So highly recommend that. It is great. And then lastly, burst mode is a huge game changer too. And that's, you know, for the perfect planned, we call them plandids, where it's a planned candid photo. The best way to do that is on the newer phones, if you press the shutter button and then you take it to the left, it'll start counting frames really fast. And that's taking all of those photos. So yeah, basically you can find like the perfect action shot or the perfect planted shot using that method. And then there's actually a way to go into and you can actually go in and select which ones you want to save so that you're not saving, you know, like 42 photos of someone walking down the beach. You can save just the right ones. So yeah, those are the technology tricks I would recommend. And then Ashlee can walk you through like the more theoretical ones.
Was it swipe right or left on for the burst?
For the burst on mine, it's to the left.
Okay. I'm dropping it in the chat so everybody can remember. Unfortunately, we are referring to just iPhones. Sorry, everyone, if you...
I know, I'm sorry.
Not an iPhone. But these tips for flawless photos are for any kind of phone or camera across the line. And they're kind of like the very traditional, I guess, like starter, kind of starter points for photography, skills. Lighting. Very, very important. Never forget your lighting. Right now, I have 2 ring lights kind of glaring at me just so I can be kind of lit up for this presentation. If I didn't have them, I would just be a shadow. So very important. You always want to have the light on your subject, which is me right now, and usually going to be yourself or your friend. And I always say, find your light. And sometimes that's the sun. So you want to make sure that you're finding the light here. Never have the light behind you. All that's going to do is shine on you and turn you into a shadow. So very important. Understand your lighting. This photo, for example, the lighting, I guarantee you, is not coming from that window. It is coming from 2 big lights that are shining on that piece of furniture or whatever the subject was for this specific photograph. The rule of thirds, also a very important, very standard rule of photography. Essentially, whenever you frame your shot, you want to separate it into 3 spaces. And then you want to have your subject on one of those lines. So just how the cat is here, it's on one of those lines. And then you'll kind of see how the stump is kind of balanced out between the 2 other ones. So that kind of gives you an idea of how to use the rule of thirds. For example, if I'm taking a picture of a landscape and there's a tree in the back, I want to make sure that my tree is not right in the middle, but just to the right or left on one of those lines. So it sounds counterintuitive. Even if I was taking a picture of Jeff, I wouldn't put him right in the middle. I would put him on one of those lines. And all of a sudden, your pictures are going to go from pedestrian to professional just by utilizing that one little tool. Last, layers are super important because pictures are 2-dimensional. So by adding in different layers, you're going to create the appearance that they're looking at something 3D. So you want to imagine that you have a foreground, midground, and then background. In this one, for example, you have the ice cream as the foreground, and then you have the individual midground, and then you even have a background behind her. So that's kind of how that works. And then boom, all of a sudden it looks kind of 3D. And then this photo even kind of has layers going from top down, which is really, really cool. So there's a lot of concepts that you can play around with all of these, with layers, with lighting, and with the rule of thirds. But hopefully this gives you guys kind of a 101 when it comes to flawless photos.
Yeah, and I would say too, like with the rule of thirds and with the layers as well, I guess layers less, but rule of thirds, like you don't have to, while you're taking the photo, be, so focused on making sure that it's on one of those grid lines. That's something you can go into your phone afterwards and re-edit, recrop things. So if you don't happen to capture it perfectly the way that you wanted to, don't forget you can go in and recrop it and try to do that rule of thirds there.
Good point. Yeah, editing is always your best friend in photography and video.
Yes, for sure.
All right, Instagram stories. So interesting because Instagram stories were a direct response to Snapchat. And I feel like when they first rolled out, people were a little bit wary of them and didn't really want to jump on board. But, now I couldn't imagine Instagram without stories. It's a huge part of it. You've got 500 million Instagrammers on stories every day. And honestly, it's probably more than that. They only last for 24 hours, so they can be less polished. They can be, super off the cuff and just like in the moment. They're good for selfies. You would never catch me posting a selfie on my actual, page on my feed, but I will put selfies on my Instagram story all day long. And you can also, it's another way to do that behind the scenes concept that Jeff was talking about as well. They last for 15 seconds. as far as the videos. You can cut longer videos into little 15-second pieces. But again, you don't really want to put long videos on your story. Save that for IGTV and just use this for, you know, kind of these fun, quick, just little glimpses at what you're doing throughout your day.
Absolutely. And honestly, more people are looking at Instagram stories than even in-feed posts sometimes.
Yeah.
So another like quick tip from me and Ashlee too is like whenever we post something in feed, like an actual like, you know, in feed story, like video or photo, share it right to your story, because people might be more apt to see it in the story form than they do in the in feed post. So that's a really easy way just to get some extra legs out of your content.
Yeah, there's even little stickers that say, you know, new post or tap here, and that will take people from your story to your feed. That way you're just making sure that you're getting as much engagement as possible.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna create stories together in a little bit, which will be fun. But I just wanna kind of walk you guys through all the editing capabilities, because there's a lot here and it's really fun. There's a lot of really cute ways to just up your content and also kind of squeak as much engagement as you can out of it. So on the left here, we have like the original photo of my dog Snarfy, who's cute, taking a nap on his little furry bed. But there's, you know, this is Instagram stories, so we can really up it here. So what you can do is if you look at the right photo, up at the top, there's like a little like square sticker button. So that's gonna be all your stickers basically. So you click that and it'll bring up a menu that'll have, you know, time of day, temperature, hashtag. You want to like add a different handle. You can do a poll. You can ask people questions. You can put animated GIFs on here. So I put it's not moving right now, but I put the little Z's coming off of his head. I added the time of day, the 3:45 p.m., hashtag sleepy puppy. If you click on the little squiggly line up there, you can actually get like a pen tool. So you can pick through a few different, you know, pen types, but you can paint on the photo too. So I did that with the green there so that you could read the 3:45. I added a little question in there saying like, how cute is Snarf? And people can take that little thing and drag it across. So, you know, you're getting more eyes on your content. People are spending a little bit more time. They're engaging with it more. So that's a few examples of how you can really have some fun with Instagram stories. There's different layouts you can do. There's boomerangs. You can shoot hands-free. You can add songs on there. You can do location. It's really kind of a lot. There's a lot you can do. So have fun and really experiment there. And again, these only last for 24 hours. So you don't have to be too precious about it. You can really just, you know, have fun and let loose.
Yeah, so many opportunities to kind of show your individuality and yeah, just what makes you different. I love it.
Absolutely. So yeah, we wanted to kind of just open this up for everyone to create their own story. If you haven't done one before, we're happy to hold your hand through it. It'd be great if you guys could tag us at the Valdez team so that we can make sure that we share it onto our story and that we follow you. So yeah. And I think, yeah, if you have a drink right now, it's definitely like happy hour time.
Happy hour time. Yay. I forgot my beverage. Wow, we made a really good time. We have 10 minutes for stories. So I'll just invite everyone one more time if you want to turn on your video and make a story with us. That's what we're here for. Or questions, of course.
Yes. Yeah, we went through a lot of stuff. So if you guys have questions, please let us know.
If you would like to tell us, you know, which part you found most interesting or most helpful for when we do these presentations in the future, we would love any feedback as well. Hey.
Hey.
Guys.
Hello.
Hey guys. I had a quick question, not about stories, but about you know, if you make a video and then you want to, so for example, I've created a few short videos for my website, and I created a YouTube channel to post it on there as well. So in terms of those videos, how do you suggest is the best way to maybe, post that onto your Instagram account? I've never used IGTV, for example. So what's a good way? What are your suggestions in terms of posting those types of videos? Or if it's even a good idea to post a video that's that long?
Great question. Jeff, do you want to tackle this or?
Sure. Yeah. So that's a really, really good question. I would say we have been talking about how most of Instagram is really geared towards like that really bite-sized snackable content. But I think there's definitely room here for those videos you created. I'm sure there's a lot of value in having those and telling those stories. So you mentioned it already. And I think Ashlee and I would both recommend that you sign up for an IGTV account. It's really easy to use. You can actually use it in your browser too on your computer. So you don't have to like worry about saving out a YouTube video onto your phone to then put onto Instagram. You can do it in your browser, which is really useful. But you can go in and upload videos that are much longer than a minute, which is the time limit on in-feed posts. Yeah. So definitely would recommend doing that. And we can even send you like a little how-to on that too, if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be great, because I'm not sure if I know how to set up an IGTV account.
Yeah, it's actually really intuitive. It's just linked right to your normal one. Okay. And yeah, we'll find you a how-to on it though. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course.
Once you have that capability, basically it's just like adding a photo or video as you normally would, and it'll just have the option. Do you want to upload as a video or do you want to upload as IGTV? You click that one and it's super easy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we use it for Valdez team a lot, and it's really intuitive. They did a nice job with it. So
okay, awesome.
But yeah, you can definitely get those videos on. So we have another question from the audience. How do we time our stories to post? So I'm not sure if I understand.
Do you mean like, can you schedule them ahead of time?
Puneet? Or just how to post a story? Just let us know what you mean, and we'll be happy to help. Oh, how to automate. Oh, how to automate. No automation on stories, right?
No. Yeah, do you want to take this one?
Sure. I guess because stories are just they're here and gone within 24 hours, and they really are meant to be how would you say, like,
it's like really meant to be like in the moment, I feel like. Yeah.
So they want it to truly be in the moment. So there's no scheduling of stories. The best thing that you can do is kind of create your story in your photo album. So you can create it, whenever you have downtime, maybe like in the evening, you take your picture, you add your little things that you want to add to it, and then you save it. And then whenever you think you're going to get the most engagement, which is usually in the morning, then you go back and you post it in the morning from your photo album. But I haven't seen any ways as far as automating. You can only really automate posts that go onto your feed. That makes sense?
Absolutely. And I have one thing to add to that too. Ashlee mentioned like you can do it later too if you don't want to like, be at an event and you're, stuck on your phone the whole time. But something you can do is like, say you take a photo or a video in the app, in the story, you can click that little downward arrow and it'll download it to your phone. So you can just save it for later. And then therefore you can like do your content capture when you need to. And then, later that night when you're sitting on the couch, you can grab all those things that you recorded earlier and make it into your story. So I think, like saving your stuff for later is a good idea.
Hi, Ariella. Yeah, that's a really good point, Jeff, because if I'm out and about, I don't want to live on my phone. I want to enjoy the moment. So you can snap, save, and then go back later and then actually add all of those fun accessories to it.
Yes, for sure.
How are you? Did you have any questions for us?
Yeah, actually I did. So I work for a marketing company, and I saw that you guys were advertising for this, and I was like, I'm always here to learn new things. So I wanted to check and see if you guys knew, like, what was the best form of, I guess, posting, because we do a lot of videos, and I personally, like, on my personal Instagram, don't use video, but they seem to like doing the animated posts on their feed. So I don't know if you guys have seen, like, what gets the best engagement as far as on Instagram posts. Like, is it still images or videos? Because I'm trying to make sure that we get the most out of our Instagram, and I don't necessarily know if we're doing that right now based on how it's going. So yeah.
Good question. What do you think, Jeff? Reels?
So yeah, I would say just off the bat, I would say Instagram has a lot of, I think, money tied up right now in Reels because it's like a new release, influenced by, TikTok style videos, kind of just how they kind of like co-opted stories from Snapchat a little bit. So the algorithm is really favoring those Reels videos. So I'm not sure if your company or your client has done them yet, or if you guys are interested, but I definitely would recommend doing that. And it can be really fun too. Aside from that, I feel like Instagram Live is also a big deal right now. They're really trying to get as many people into that ballgame. And then the traditional posts, I would say, they're still really favoring video too, but it's not like still images are done. So I think when it comes to that, you need to kind of look at what is performing best for your channels and just try to get like a mix of that going. And it might actually be that the best thing to do is to have a mix of it. So I think that's when you have to kind of look at the analytics. But yeah, Ashlee and I are really seeing, Reels are a big thing right now. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
With still photos, we noticed that when they have, humans in them, they usually get more interaction. So for example, anytime we post with Manny and Manuel in the photos, those get way more likes than when we post something about structured settlements.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for the question.
We might have time for one more question if anybody has. Oh, you're welcome. She says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Absolutely, my Philly.
Of course. Yeah, this was fun.
Kelly sounds like a Instagram whiz over here. All right. And Darlene says, let's tag CAOC on your Instagram story. And a huge thank you to Valdez team. You're welcome. All right, Jeff, you want to do a story together?
I'm sure.
Okay. Oops. As we say goodbye, I'm gonna get in here. Goodbye. Yay. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And follow at Valdez team, at the Valdez.
Yes, follow at the Valdez team. Thanks, all.
The Valdez team. Oops. All right. And thank you, Darlene, for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Darlene, for having us.
This was so fun.